and welcome to lesson number 24 of Learn Free Music Theory. This is the first lesson into level number 2. So if you guys are watching this, you should have completed the exam and all the lessons for level 1. If you haven't, you need to go back and do those, because if you don't, some of this stuff that we're going to be going further into will not make sense, and you won't have the skills to be able to understand it easily. So that being said, this lesson though is going to be quite easy, and all we're going to focus on for this lesson is going to be error fixing. So I had that on the last lesson, and I wanted to go a little bit more in depth and cover all the aspects of error fixing, or a good number of them, not probably everything, because you can go into massive detail in any subject you pick. But anyway, so we're basically going to do some error fixing today. And level 2 is actually going to be quite a bit shorter than level 1 was. I don't see it being even more than 10 videos long. So we've already laid a hugely, vast, a big vast, what do you want to call it? Foundation. There you go. Sometimes words just pop out of my head for some reason. But anyway, so yeah, foundation. We already laid a really big foundation, and now a lot of that work that we laid is out of the way. And so I just want to go over, a handful of topics, and then we're going to move on to the next level. And that's going to cover more topics, of course. But yeah. Anyway, so if you are done level 1, be excited, because level 2 is going to be easier, I think, in a lot of ways. The learning curve isn't going to be as steep. It's going to get a bit easier. The next big learning curve will probably be when you hit harmony, because that is tough. And I'm still not sure if I'm going to teach harmony, but I might. It's going to be a big hefty topic, and I want to make sure I do a good job, so that's kind of why I'm hesitant about it. I'm not sure how that'll work, but I'll do my best. So yeah, let's get started. Okay guys, so some of you might be wondering, okay, well, what is even the purpose of doing an error fixing checklist kind of thing? Well, here's some of the important reasons that you'd want to be able to do error fixing. What if you are composing, or you're doing an exam, or you're doing anything else related to music theory, and you're doing something of your work? Now, you need to check it over to make sure you haven't made a mistake. So, how do you do that if you don't know how to fix errors? You kind of have to know, otherwise it's like you're just going to write stuff out and then you won't even know what to do. You'll be like, oh, well, I guess this is right. Home diddly dum. Let's just go back and eat some pie. Anyway, I don't know what that reference was about. Okay, anyway, so basically you need to have a checklist, sort of, although I haven't really put this in any certain order. It's just kind of as it came to my mind. And then I'm going to explain some of these things, but this is basically something that you need to develop over time, and it's kind of, as you gain more understanding of how music theory works, you'll start to know what the correct way and the wrong way is, and then you have to actually mentally go through checking the music or whatever you're doing to make sure that it adheres to the rules that you've learned, okay? So, some of the things that you need to watch for, now if someone gives you like an error fixing thing like I did in the last exam, first thing you probably want to look for is around the starting. You want to check these 3 main ones: the key signatures, time signatures, and clefs, okay? So first you want to make sure that the clef is not upside down, or it's not even a clef, or other things. Usually clefs aren't too hard to look for. It's pretty obvious usually. So check your clef. Now, the other thing you need to check is your key signature and time signature, okay? The key signature always goes, if you have your clef here, the key signature always goes in between the time signature. So the time signature and the clef are on the outside, and the key signature is always in the middle, okay? Now, in some error things, people will have basically the time signature in between a key signature and a clef, and when you do that, that's wrong, okay? The key signature comes first, or comes, I guess, sandwiched in between the clef and the time signature. So make sure that you look for that. Other things, so also check to make sure that the key signature is written in the correct order, because it could be like F sharp, D sharp, A sharp, B sharp, even though that's not even, you know, a key signature. They could write that down just to throw you off. Or someone else could have done it, and you should look that over and be like, well, I don't know about you, buddy, but that's not the right way to write a key signature. That's no key signature that I know of. So, also you'll understand when we go into transposition and stuff like that how helpful key signatures are for helping sort everything out. But anyway, okay, so you need to check for the correct order of the key, like the sharps and the flats. You need to check that the right number of them are there, and stuff like that. So so don't gloss over just the key signature and assume that it's right, because it could be wrong. Okay. Now the next thing is the time signature. Now the time signature could be upside down, it could be flipped. They could even put a completely wrong time signature in there. So don't gloss over that either. They could write the wrong time signature, and like an example would be you could have 3 quarter notes in the bar, and they could write 4/4. Okay, and then in another bar they have a dotted half note, and in another bar they have this. So it's showing you, it looks like it's very obvious that it's in 3/4 time, but they've mislabeled it 4/4, or maybe they did like 4/7 or something like that. So you need to adjust it to the right time signature. So basically you use what you already have as clues to diagnose the time signature that they have. Now keep in mind though that they could also have errors in the time signature themselves. They could be leaving out bars, so you don't even know if the bars that they give you are the right amount of time. So you should always check to see if you can get at least like 3 bars that all have the same time signature before you're like, aha, I know the time signature. Okay? It has to be like you have to line it up with other bars before you'll be able to make sure that that's the time signature. Because later on, the next one, so basically get your key signature, time signature, and clef right, and that's a huge part of starting your piece. So you need to get that established. It's like the foundation of the piece usually. So it's laying out most of the ground rules. Okay, now bar lines, they're going to possibly miss a bar line. They'll put a bar line in where it shouldn't be. So you need to make sure that they're spaced properly according to the time signature that you're given. So that way you're going to have to rearrange your bar lines. Sometimes this might mean adding rests. So you might have to add a rest in a place where they should be more beats or less beats or whatever. You might have to change the rest around. They could even write the rests incorrectly. So we learned about rest grouping, grouping the rests or laying them out in a certain order. You have to make sure that those rests are written in the correct order according to where they fall on the beat pattern. So if you're writing in 4/4 time or 3/4 time, they could have different ones because 3/4 time is strong, weak, weak, and 4/4 time is strong, weak, medium, weak. So obviously we're going to have to do different rest groupings for different time signatures. That's why you have to know your time signature first, because if you don't, then it's like, which grouping do I use? Oh no! So always work from the left side and get everything all organized and then go that way, to the right. Okay, so you'll look for those things. Then another couple things that they could do is they could have notes and note stems. Like they could have a note that's way too big. Like maybe they put a whole note in a 4/4 bar with also a quarter note and an eighth note. Now it's up to you to figure out, well, does it look more like it should be part of a new bar, or does it look like they've added that note in there extra just to throw you off and you need to take it out? Usually they won't throw in extra notes though, so you don't really have to worry about that. It's mainly going to be adding rests and stuff like that. Now a big one that they tend to do is they will flip notes backwards or whatever. Like you could have, like with note stems, say it should be going up, but they've written it down. Now say that also it's an eighth note and it should be going this way, but no, instead they have it going that way. So they have a note like this. So what do you need to do to correct that note? Well, first thing you need to do is flip it up. So you're going to take that out, rewrite it, get it going up, and get the note, the flag going the right way. Okay? That's simple. So note stems, they sometimes flip upside down, sideways. They might even put it on the wrong side. So just remember that when a note stem goes up, it goes on the right side. When it goes down, it goes on the left side. So they could give you a note stem that goes up on the left side, and that would be wrong. So that has to go on the right side. Or they could put one on the right side when it's going down, and that could be wrong too. And then the flag direction always goes to the right. Okay? Always. If it's going up or down, it's always going to the right. Okay, so after that, now those are most of the problems the errors that you'll see with notes and note stems. The other one is ties. Oh, actually, a really funny thing to do is you'll notice when you see a lot of musical paraphernalia, like shirts with like notes on them, and like usually it's eighth notes where they mess up. Is you'll see like a shirt or a poster or something, and it'll have all these musical notes, and they'll have the stems or the flags going the wrong direction, and you just kind of have to laugh because it's hilarious. Because it looks all professional, and they've got all this like Photoshop stuff going on, and it's just like the music event of the century, and then they have wrong flags and everything like that, and you know it's usually backwards, and you're just like and this happens all the time because usually the graphics designers that design this, they have no idea what the right way to do it is, and so they just put it down and it looks fine, right? Looks good, looks like music to me. And then anyone who knows how it actually is supposed to go, yeah, doesn't usually work out that well. Although, you know, I imagine probably over time people are going to start catching on and fix that, but it is something that can be quite funny. So you can do error checking on people's musical shirts and stuff like that too if you want to. Okay, now ties. Why would a tie be wrong? Well, a tie is wrong if there's no need for it. Here's an example. Say you have a bar like this, and you have a half note here, and you have an eighth note and an eighth note like this, and you're going to tie them together and say this is 3/4, just for the sake. Now, this is 1 beat, 2, and 3. So 1 beat for this and 2 for that. So 1, 2, 3. Now, what would be the reason to have 2 eighth notes together tied? What are they going to do? They're going to be the exact same value as a quarter note. Now, there's no point to writing that at all. It's over complicating things. So we want to keep things as simple as possible. The rule would be that you would never do something like this because it's kind of moot. There's no reason to have it. Why would you have the same? Like, we're assuming that this is C and C tied together, 2 eighth notes. Why? No reason. You can just write a quarter note like that and boom, it's all solved. Okay? So that is what you want to do. So make sure that you watch out for basically the ties. Now that leads into another subject down here, grouping of notes. Now, whenever you have eighth notes, we're going to cover more of this grouping thing as we go along in the more advanced rhythm. But basically, okay, if I have 2 eighth notes like this, I'm not going to write them like that, probably. Depending on the time signature, okay? You'll learn these rules later on, but I'm just telling you this now. Basically, you want to group them together if that's what the time signature tells you to do, okay? So if that's the way it's written out. Like, why I'm saying that is because in compound time versus like duple time, you'll group them differently. Like in 6/8 time, you're going to group them 3 in one group, and in duple time, you could have 4 in a group, or 2 in a group, or whatever, depending on the situation. There's so many different situations. Anyway, but basically what I'm trying to say is you need to look at the note grouping. If there's 2 eighth notes just sitting there for no reason, and they're separate, but they're like they have 2 flags going down like I was showing, and they're not connected, that's probably a note grouping error, okay? Same thing if you had 2 of these, 1 of these, and 1 of these, and it was 4/4 time, okay? Say this is 4/4 time. Why would we do it this way? No reason. There'd be, like, there could be a situation that would come up that would you do that, but probably not. That would be very rare. This would be what you'd want to do. So that would have been an error too. Okay? So, note grouping, there can be errors with that as well. That pretty much covers all the mainstream note grouping errors. Now, some of the more kind of nitpicky ones are sometimes they can misspell a composer's name or give the wrong date of birth. Now, this is very, very, very unlikely, but it could be possible. And they could also misspell the title or even put the entirely wrong title on the piece. Like say it's Chopin's, say the piece is Chopin's like Revolutionary Etude, okay? And instead they label it as Chopin's Heroic Polonaise or Nocturne or something else, or even another piece from another composer. So, you know, that could be an error in and of itself. Yeah. Anyway, so that could be a possible error that you could get. Now, those ones are very rare, and I really wouldn't see them happening very often, but I just wanted to let you know that that could be a possibility. So you do want to check your name and your composer and any of the other information. Like they could have they could have it really slow and then give you an allegro sign, although that would be unlikely too. And when you are copying things, you need to copy everything. You need to copy the composer's name and correct it if possible, the title of the piece, the tempo marking. You have to copy the clef, the double bar lines, all the other stuff. So that's all stuff that you need to worry about. And, well, not worry, but just correct. There's no sense to get all worried and pull your hair out over it. It's not that difficult. So basically just go over these things. Maybe you just watch this video 2 or 3 times so it kind of sticks in your brain and then go on. There's not really anything too much to worry about here. Just keep the rules that you learn in your mind and then use them to check against what you are looking at. Like whatever comes your way. Okay? So that's pretty much it for this lesson. This is just kind of a very easygoing lesson to get you back into level number 2, and we'll continue on from here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson, and I hope you'll use those skills to correct any errors that you guys have in the future, and make sure that you're always checking your work, because if you check your work over, you can usually eliminate a lot of possible problems that could really, really mess you over and cost you a lot of time in the future. So anyway, so I will talk to you guys later. Well, I'll not really talk to you. I guess I'll be talking to myself later in the next lesson and helping you guys out. And I hope everything went well and that you enjoyed the exam and that it gave you some confidence. And yeah, so let's keep going and learn some music theory. Woohoo! Okay, see you later, guys. Bye.